Welcome back to Lost in the Bog podcast, my friends. All of us are back in the virtual crypt tonight. Almost 2 months to the day after what we got to talk about here tonight. Finally, this is our tribute episode to the fallen god, Trev Sternad from the Black Dahlia murder. He not obviously is influence on the entire mental community as a whole cannot be understated, but on us as individuals as well, that also is just a massive loss to everybody in us. And we are coming out a little bit late, but this is late. What does that even mean? That doesn't mean anything. I don't even know why I said that, but it's just when we decided to get to it. And that's what we want to be here and talk about tonight is a tribute episode and remembering one of our absolute fucking idols, much in the same way that we did for Alexi a few years ago. Now we're here to talk about Big Papa.
Trev.
Papa Trev.
You guys got a drink with you?
I got
Something.
It ain't booze, but
Doesn't matter what. That's fine.
apparently it's bad luck to cheers one
Cheers.
time. I think I got a little tea left in this from like yesterday, so
at least it's not 3
Oh,
weeks
yeah.
old.
Fucking cheers.
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 Papa
Salute.
Salute, brother.
Salute.
Oh, yeah.
Skull. Huge.
Man, yeah, it's rough, man. We lose rock stars seemingly in droves. When they go, man, it's been a rough few years for that.
It really has.
And it's pandemic notwithstanding, it had been a while since we'd gotten to see some of these guys. And luckily though, Black Dahlia was the first one. As soon as they were all right, we're gonna allow people with their vaccine records or whatever to go to shows, they were boom, let's put together this badass package and let's go out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just that's the kind of guys they were. They were as soon as they could hit the road, they were on the road coming out to play shows. And and Trevor was a huge part of that. He always knew how to, I don't know. I don't know if it was him putting together the tour packages, but it sure felt like it sometimes,
Oh, definitely.
Well, I would imagine being as versed in just extreme music as he was, I was, to kind of piggyback off that, I was listening to that Josta episode today about the where they're going through talking about all the bands that they want on it and stuff and like that.
Milwaukee Metal Fest, that one.
Yeah. So I'd have to imagine to some aspect that he probably has a good hand in who they tour with and stuff.
I think so.
Because they're
At
always
least somewhat.
stacked. They played with everybody.
Yeah.
I think the first time I saw them, it was the Intersection, and it was with it was them. I was on a Def Lorate tour. It was them, Skeleton Witch, and Toxic Holocaust.
Oh my God. Yeah, they toured with Skeleton Witch a lot.
Yeah.
Because
Back when
Skeleton Witch was from Ohio, though, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, so they're neighbors. Yeah.
They were.
So that makes sense.
Sick. Yeah. And then after that, I think it was the I don't know. I just saw them a handful of times, like everybody else in the state. They were kind of one of those staple bands that whenever they announced something, it was we were there, no matter who they were playing with.
Exactly. They were constantly on every show. What was the first time you ever saw them, man?
Well, that was the that
Definitely.
Intersection show I was on. Yeah.
Right. When they were headlining?
Yeah.
All right.
One of my favorite shows I've ever seen them was that Halloween show that was at the Loft a while ago. It was on Devil's Night.
Yeah.
Just I think it was a couple months after Ritual was out. It was the new one. It was them and it was them, Beast in the Field, and Cannabis Corpse.
I was not at that show. Right. That's awesome.
So yeah, just kind of those were kind of the first two times I ever saw them, I think, and then ever since then they were just kind of and especially after within the as time kind of went on, they started doing the anniversary, tours and stuff of all the albums or whatever, which I'm sure we'll get into. And seeing a couple of those are really cool. So I'll let one of you guys talk though. I don't want to talk about everything right away.
Oh, definitely. Just roll with it, buddy. Just like fucking, you got the ideas and the memories. Go for it.
Yeah, man. So, all right. So I'll go in here. I'm the old guy here, right? Oh God, I gotta find the posts where the 86. So, all right. So I got into metal via Slipknot. A lot of people did, obviously, but it was one of those, like, I went into that, and then it was like Cradle of Filth. And my buddy took me to Ozfest when I was like 13, and I saw a dude in like he had like a straight jacket with the arms like hanging super long and a blonde mohawk and a black strip across his face. And I was like, I'm gonna do that. And then the next year, I think, oh God, when is this? It's gonna take me a minute to find it, but I've got I had a live journal as a little emo goth kid, right?
Fuck! What year would that have? I remember those.
I'm
things.
looking. These are from like,
mid 2000s.
Yes, has to be between 04 and 08, or actually 02 and 08. Yeah.
Internet nerds rise up.
Oh man, I can't find it.
Well, it has to be in that 6 year.
It's in there. It's
somewhere between Tumblr and MySpace.
Right.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I went to. I'm trying to find what concert I went to. Maybe I can Control F. Yeah.
Dude, I had to look it up because I was like, I think the first time I actually got to see the Black Dahlia murder was after we recorded All Hail.
Yeah, I remember talking about that.
There it is. Found it. All right. So it was Ozfest 2005 when I saw him.
It was like miasma era, probably.
Yeah, early days.
Yeah.
So you guys ready for, what would this be? 17-year-old Mike's review of the Black Dahlia murder?
Oh, you have it on your live journal?
Oh,
I'm looking at it right now. I remembered, I was like, oh my God, I remember writing about this and seeing it way back in the day.
Yes, please read this right now.
Oh, this is okay. So first, let me give you the lineup of this Ozfest. These are the bands I saw.
Please.
It Dies Today, Bury Your Dead, Wicked Wisdom, The Haunted, A Dozen Furies, Black Dahlia Murder, Arch Enemy, As I Lay Dying, Killswitch Engage. That was the second stage that year, right? Main stage: Rob Zombie, In Flames, Black Label Society, Shadows Fall, Iron Maiden, and Sabbath. Right? Yeah.
Wait, that was
Ozfest. That was the main stage.
But that was the year that Sharon and Iron Maiden got in a fight, isn't it? Yep. At
that was
DTE, at Pine Knob.
Then she was like pulling the cords on their set, and we were all hearing like guitars gone shit. Dude, it was such bullshit.
Yep.
So anyhow, I digress. So
that's a legendary fucking show, though. Like there's VH1 bits about that show. Like
that was a crazy day. We saw a dude throwing up next to the rocks, the little pond area. And he was throwing up while we were sitting smoking a bowl, and his buddy came up and he goes, "Hey, you want to throw rocks at that guy? He's an all-state wrestler."
Oh my God.
So we just sat there throwing pebbles, and this guy was like, "Fuck you." Ozfest was fucking sweet. I missed that shit.
Me too.
Anyway, so here goes. Black Dahlia Murder. Fucking cool band. Singer didn't quite fit in, so I had the hard time to moshing a dude with thick eyebrows like that, thicker glasses, and a beer gut. I was a shithead, and I apologize for that, Trevor. I buried that memory when I met you, and it has since surfaced. And I wanted to say right now, I apologize for that.
I think that's funny.
I'm sure you'd get a kick out of it.
That is an accurate description of probably anybody's first time seeing any videos or anything from them. Like, honestly,
yeah, it's like, wait, what's going on with this singer? Like, it's not. It was about the look though. You'd never seen.
And this was back he had like the short cropped hair and was just wearing like gym shorts, and like the music was fucking awesome, and that's when I discovered him. Like that's when I found Black Dahlia Murder, and then 17 years later, got to meet the dude and record a song with him. Like, fuck off, man.
So wild. Still wild.
Alex, what would have been your first time, or either seeing them or hearing them or whatever?
Let's say you got a pretty different take than the rest of us. That sounds
Very
interesting.
Definitely a wild ride for me because like that was when I was like really into like metalcore and like I was like getting through my post-hardcore phase and stuff and like I was like I don't know, maybe I don't like that. I don't, and like I was really on the fence about it for a really long time and like I don't know. I really grew to like it like way before I actually got to like see them or like even like dive deep into the band, you know.
Fair enough.
And I don't know, it always just kind of like grew on me and like just knowing that they were local to
Yes.
the scene here was like really inspiring to think like, wow, a bunch of dudes can really just like do it. And that's what it's about, just doing it.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, I've told the story many times, but they were a band where when I first started going to shows, they were just opening for every single show that I went to in Michigan. So I just like I was never really always going for them, but I would always end up seeing them constantly. Definitely Nocturnal is when I first discovered them. I remember my cousin had a copy of it and he's like, you got to listen to this shit, especially like What a Horrible Night to Have a Curse and all that. He's like, this shit is amazing. And all of our whole friend group was really into them and we would go see them as much as we could. But the first time I ever saw them was 2000, like no, that can't be right. No, maybe it was the first time I saw him. Maybe it was around 2000, like 6, 7, or 8, somewhere in there, because it was the first time I ever saw Bodum.
Didn't you see them with Cannibal at that the Metal Blade tour, or was that not? Is that somebody else?
Oh no! Yes, I did. That's right. That might have been actually the first time I saw him.
That would have been Nocturnal.
It was at the 25th anniversary Metal Blade tour with and like Red Cord was there. That was at the Majestic in Detroit.
Yeah.
That's where I saw someone disappear. That's a crazy night.
I mean,
yeah, I think
you just gloss past that, or like.
Well, it was just a situation where it was like the way the Majestic is set up is kind of like almost like a gymnasium with like a really big, nice stage in it, but it's just a big open space, and my cousin and I are standing like kind of towards the back on the edge, like just watching, and the pit is going on right in front, and then there's like kind of a back area where more people are just kind of standing around watching. And him and I are just looking, and there's this maybe 5.5 half foot tall lady standing there, and she's standing like right here. And then these two Goliaths decide to do the lock arm things and charge into the pit, and she just happened to be standing in the wrong place at the wrong time, and it just went poof, and she was just gone. Like we never saw her again for the rest of the night. She just disappeared completely. She was like pink mist, like just completely vanished off the face of the earth into Valhalla. But no, and you know what? There's definitely some show that I know for a fact there's actually a show I'm forgetting about because I can't remember who was headlining that I saw them at. I think even before that one. And it might have been something like real local too, like something weird. But yeah, I mean, yeah. So I've seen them open for 1 million people, and they're just, they're always the hometown boys, like you said, Alex. Like there was always something real special, much like with Battlecross. There was always something extra special about a band making it to that national level, being from our backyards. That's like always like there's just something special about it,
Yeah.
When
you were talking about that song, I think it was like one of the first times I heard them too, because it's kind of back when Headbangers Ball was still on at like 1 a.m. They played it for like an hour or whatever. That was about it. Like it was kind of at the end of it. So I used to watch it a lot, and that video came up for the first time, and I was like, what is this? I was like, that is sick. I was like, all the guitar stuff, like I don't know, the crazy solo that's in the center of it. It was like one of the first times that, I mean, I guess to like, not really one of the first times I heard blast beats, but one of the first times I've heard it be put with, you know, I guess something like that and had it be like catchy. Like
Right.
it's first time that like, yeah, I guess that's a good way to put it. Like it was heavy because, you know, I was kind of getting into, you know, I mean, I think this was around the time I was into like Sacrament, Lamb of God, and like, you know, a lot of Slipknot, like Mike and stuff. And you know, it was around the time when Nocturnal was like just coming out, and I heard that song, and I was like, okay, this is kind of a turning point. And then from there, it was like they were a big gateway band for me, and I'm sure a lot of other people. Like, you know, it was that album got me into, you know, Cannibal and finding all these other
Yeah.
crazy bands that, you know, I wouldn't have otherwise gotten into, but it's because, and, you know, going down the Metal Blade, you know, catalog and stuff and all the history and everything. And I don't know, it was cool. It was one of the first, you know, like I said, it was kind of one of the first things that got me into more extreme music, kind of opened my eyes to it a little bit more. And then, of course, seeing the Majesty documentary was like, you know, you want to talk about like, they always talk, at least he always did, about, you know, in interviews and stuff, about the fact that they were a bunch of fans that got lucky. You know, they're
Yes.
a band of fans that got lucky. And like, you know, it's especially like hearing that and then, you know, watching that documentary and stuff was like,
Yeah.
they always made it seem pretty like, you know, attainable. Like they were huge. They were one of the best, you know, still one of the best to ever do it. And you know, to have this kind of attainability to it and to be able to like, you know, to see something like that and know that it's possible and that they came out of, you know, an area where there really isn't, like they're super like Warren or something like that. Kind of like
some of them are literally from Waterford, which is where I lived before I moved to East Lansing.
Yeah. So like kind of nowhere Michigan, unless you're from
Yep.
Michigan. So
Yep.
yeah, I don't know. I always thought that was cool. It was something I was always just kept me listening to them.
Absolutely. Now, you guys, of course, turn the clock into the future a little bit. Now I do remember a day where I think Aaron, you texted me and you're like, dude, fucking look at this shit. And I think it was like every month or so, Trevor did like a write-up for, who was it? Metal.
The Obituarist.
Yeah.
What magazine was that for? Publication. What publication was that for though?
Metal Injection.
Metal Injection. Yeah. And he had like a list of underground bands that you should check out right now. And I remember one time you guys were on that list. Actually, more than once, but for the first time you guys are on that list. Aaron, you texted me. You're like, "Oh my fucking god, dude!" And then of course you guys end up doing a song with them. Like, what? I think the last time you guys ever talked about this on, at least that I'm aware of, on a podcast was Lost in the Dark. Back fucking one of the first times you were ever, like, in the first 100 episodes, so like ages ago. Like,
yeah, man, that was some crazy stuff, man. And you know, either one of these guys can stop me if I'm remembering incorrectly, because I may be paying some love to the bong for, again, back to that Majesty thing Aaron brought up. One of my favorite lines, and I still, ever since the first time I heard it, every time I go to do something, is fucking Trevor's, "Should we hit the bong before we do this?" Like, so the answer is always yes. Yeah, man, we're sitting there. We got in the Obituarist for, I think the first one was Meyer, right?
No, he had heard all of our stuff.
He did Viscera first.
Yeah, because the first time I met him was the Ghost Bath show that Clint won tickets to in a beer pong tournament, and we were just at the show waiting around. And he was like, "Dude, that's fucking Trevor from the Black Dahlia Murder," and I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Do you think we should like ask him to like hang out and like smoke or something?" I was like, "Yeah, dude, let's do that. Let's fucking do that." And he was like instantly like, "Yeah, dude, totally. Let's go out back. Let's do it." And then like, I'm fucking sitting there on this porch rolling a joint at unnamed venue that I don't want to get in trouble for. And security guard came out, looked at me, and was like, "What?" And then he looked at Trevor and he was like, and then like walked away. And I was like, did I what? And I just kept on the joint, and I was like, all right, cool, whatever. I guess we're gonna smoke this fucking joint.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, and like I told him that I was in the band Bogwraith, and he was like, "You guys are local," and I was like, "Yeah." And he was like, "That's awesome. I didn't know that." And he was like, "I heard like your demos or something like that," and I was like, "Oh, really?" He's like, "Yeah, I think your guitarist sent them to me or something," and yeah, so like from Visceral Rage on, he had like heard our music.
Yeah, that was but I was so Viscera was the first one in Obituous then.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
don't-
said go ahead.
No, yeah, doesn't matter.
Yeah, so yeah, we got that, and that was like, you know, because when we started Bogwraith, we were, you know, doing the all in like we always do the whole time, but like it was like a fresh new thing, and we got that early like recognition, and it like, you know, that really helped, you know, helped kind of like, you know, not only get us out there, but like bolster our spirits a little bit. And we went on I think it was early days of Making Omen, right?
yeah, it was like partway through like writing Omen.
I think we were just like sitting around after a day of writing, just kicking back and smoking, having a good time. And
Getting a guest feature, and we were like, "Oh, dude, wouldn't it be sick of fucking never to or something?" And Chase
it was a wouldn't
I'll
it be
DM
kind of
Twitter.
thing, you know?
And,
I'll DM
Yeah.
it right now.
Again, we were like, "Ah, that'd be fucking sick, hell yeah!" And then like a day or two later, again, Chase sends us a message, and he goes, "Hey guys." He responded. He was basically just like instantly like, "Yeah, dude, whatever. I'm cool with it. You guys like record at your place, or do you have anywhere I can record?" And he's just like down to hang out.
Dude,
This would have been what? This was like 2014,
No, this is
Ish.
2016. I think.
2016. Okay.
yeah.
Because he showed us demos from Nightbringers.
Nightbringers. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that was
Yeah,
so cool.
we got to hear this like the raw stuff and the way he described it. What was the one, man, that he was like, it has that
Hero drinking song.
yeah.
Oh, I think that became Kings of the Night
Kings of
World?
Night World, yeah.
Yeah.
Because we were all listening to it like, yeah, man, this is sweet. But so yeah, man, just like getting that off like a like, wouldn't it be funny, like kind of joke between the bandmates hanging out one night to like, oh shit, this is actually happening. I feel like a lot of Bogwraith kind of like started happening like that for us in that time where, because like, yeah, he shows up and it like for me that day will forever be burned into my memory because I knew he was coming and it was like fucking 95 degrees. There was no AC in the house. And I'm sitting at my computer desk and I've just got one leg up on the desk and the other leg on this little table. I'm just got a fanning on my balls. I'm in my boxers and I hear the door open and it's like hours before he's supposed to show up, as far as I know. And Julian's like, Mike, you might want to put some pants on. I was like, dude, fuck that, dude. It's way too hot. He goes, you should go upstairs and put some pants on. I turn around and there's fucking Trevor in full denim war gear, patched out vest, holding his fucking laptop bag and backpack. And I was like, I should go put some pants on. And he was like, you know, don't bother on my part, man. I was just like, oh man, he was just such a fun guy, dude. So there I stood fucking in my boxers in front of one of my fucking rock gods as we're getting ready to go put him in stick a camera in his face and put him in some bed sheets and record one of my favorite tracks off the album. Yeah, man, we've actually got, and I'll never know what to do with it. We've got like 20 minutes of video of when we were setting up to record.
I gotta watch that sometime.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen that. I mean, I was there obviously, but I don't think I've ever watched any of that.
Wait, you have like 20 minutes of unreleased footage with him?
Yeah, it's just just a camera in his face while we're like checking levels and like just shooting the shit. Like you can hear people talking in the background. I'm pretty sure we've got the part where he runs through a line and then Julian's like, all right, run it again. So we can double up the vocals. And he's like, hell yeah, I want to be cool and thick like this guy. And yeah, one of the parts that I might, I don't know, I think at this point it'd be fitting to chop into a Lost in the Bog intro. Is the part where it's silent for like 30 seconds while he's like doing the upward point. And I think he was thinking Julian was looking at him, but Julian wasn't. And he just goes, "Can we like crank up the tunage?" And it was such a great line.
That's a good line.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that I don't know what to do with that footage. I can't just like post it to YouTube and be like, here's us shoving a camera in this guy's face after he so graciously came to record for us.
This guy did us a favor.
We could do a like a live like reaction to it, like play it and then have us to kind of like talk over it and so you explain what's going on and stuff and that kind of a thing. I don't know.
Well, I mean, it's it's the studio side of recording a metal album, so it's
a lot of just like sitting around waiting for things to happen.
Right, that's true.
And then
Yeah.
like everything gets good, and then you only hear the one side raw audio. Of the
Right,
vocals.
right, yeah,
And
yeah.
it's I don't know. It's not like an interesting video, but it's one of those things that like
Right.
The day I heard about it, I was gutted, man.
Yeah.
I think it was a Discord in the group chat from one of you guys that was like, did you hear about Trevor? It was like right when I got out of work. I hadn't drank in like 3 years, and I went and took a couple shots of whiskey in memory and fucking cranked up Nocturnal. And came home and I watched that video and was like, I got to know that dude, It was fucking cool. He was just one of the most humble rock stars you can fucking imagine. He, like Aaron said, he's a fan that I won't say got lucky. They had skill and determination, and they worked their way to the fucking pinnacle, like, of what it is to be a metal band. And the dude like was cool enough that he would recognize us at shows. Like,
Yeah.
he would come up and talk to us.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite moments in my life is always going to be him coming up and talking to Aaron and I, and then Alex comes up and people come up to me like, "Oh my God, it's Bog Wraith and Trevor from LITB." Like, meanwhile, Aaron and I are standing there like, "Yeah, we only it's 2 more guys in the band right here, man. Fuck this." And then Trevor would like keep talking to us, and like we'd all like be like intermingling, but he made you feel like he was there to like hang out with you every time you talked. It was just a genuinely cool guy.
I remember going to see them after I came back from the Wormhole tour. He fucking walks up to me and goes, "Oh yeah, look at this guy, Mr. Rockstar, huh?"
Oh, was that when we went outside to their van and smoked a joint with them, and fucking Alan just like kicked open the door to the tour bus, screaming an anime theme song at you.
Well, the coolest part of that night was.
I don't know if that was the same night or a different one.
Are you talking about the Music Factory show?
Yeah.
You saw about? Yeah, that dude.
Because that was the one that he was like, "Yeah, this fucking song goes out to Bog Wraith." And,
Yeah. That's still on YouTube, and I love it because you can see I remember Chase was right there. I don't know if Mike was. I'm not sure. I don't know. It was a while ago, but like I just remember we heard that, and Chase and I just looked at each other. And we're just like, "This is sick. This might be the coolest thing that's ever happened." Like, it was like,
man.
Just I don't know.
That was a pinnacle moment for me, man. Like we didn't play that show with him. Like, he just gave us a shout out to 2,000 rabid metal fans, dude. It was fucking sweet.
I don't even think he gave a shout out to the opener that night.
I specifically remember he didn't, because there was a huge like gobbledygook about the opener, and he shouted out every band, including ours, and specifically never named them.
Oops.
Yeah, won't say any names here, but you guys can.
Remember
that?
That's
You remember
right.
that? It was
Yeah.
a pay to play situation, and they threw a bunch of money at a promoter.
Yeah, I remember who that was.
Yup. So
wasn't the first time, but anyway.
nope. So
Don't matter.
yeah, man, it was just it was shit like that, man, that like made like, you know, it felt like when I heard the news, like I lost a friend, man. And it's not just because we got to meet him. I feel like everyone in the metal community, whatever like tiny little interaction you had with him, you felt like he was your friend, and he was a friend to everyone that ever came up to him. And I, you know, it's the world needs more people like that. You know, he did that thing. He would do the thing, and I'm sure you guys all know what I'm talking about. When he'd be on stage, where he would somehow manage to make eye contact with you at some point during the show and scream a lyric at you specifically. And that's the kind of shit he brought to the stage, kind of fucking energy. The dude was a fucking rock god, man.
Yep.
Gone too soon.
Oh, way too soon. Like, he just had such a way of controlling the stage and being able to just show how much fun he was having and still like get you like just as amped as he was.
Yeah. The pits that I saw Dahlia, man, were otherworldly. The last show we went to was one of the, like, you know, we're all metalheads, so it seems fairly, you know, self-aggrandizing, but like everyone knows, like, metalheads, especially at shows, well, other than a few, will be some of the nicest people you're gonna meet.
Yes.
I've taken non-metal head people to metal shows before, and every time it's the same response of like,
same.
There's some of the nicest, most outgoing people, especially when we're at like a show, like a festival. Like, forget about it, dude. We're all family.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
So I forget where I was going with that. I got all sentimental.
Mosh pits at shows.
There you go.
Metalheads.
So the Dahlia pits were always super intense, but the last one we were at, man, there was like this pit. I was standing right at the edge of it. Too old to go in pits anymore. And I'm just like feeding off the energy of these people. People are fucking in there, fucking moshing around. But there were these like 3 or 4 like young kids, 14, 15-year-old, like scene looking kids. And they were hardcore dancing. And like we all know, hardcore dancers in the pit become targets.
Yep.
But there was like 3 or 4 of these, as I described to Aaron at the Ashley Dine show, like government lab looking motherfuckers, dude. Like 6'4", 350 pounds, not a sharp angle on them. They are like human boulders. And they formed a little section around these kids. Like, so the edge of the pit was to their backs, and they were standing in front of them, like standing side by side, keeping sure that people in the mosh pits couldn't hit them so they could do their thing. And it was like, you know, to a non-metalhead, you say something like that, and it doesn't make any sense. But like, when you see those big government looking motherfuckers, like, stop pitting so that these kids can do their thing for a little bit. Like, it was cool to see, man. Like, the Dahlia touched everyone.
Yeah.
Like, whatever version of metal you're into. I've got a buddy of mine that is like super. What's up, Greg? Hope you're listening. He's you know, he's your Slayer, Megadeth, like kind of guy.
Yeah.
Black Dahlia right there with him, dude. Like, you know, I've got, I know people that don't even listen to metal that I show the Black Dahlia Murder, and they're like, oh, that's pretty good. Like, and then as soon as someone shows an interest though, and you're like, yeah, this song's about fucking Bathory. It's like, oh, it's about like, you know, drinking blood to stay young, werewolves and shit.
Yeah.
I still remember when he was talking to us about Matriarch. I was like, yeah, this is about a woman who can't get pregnant that steals another person's baby out of a car, cuts it out of her or something. We're like, oh, right, of course it is.
Because why not?
We're like, yeah.
It was
Naturally.
one of their the second DVD.
As you do.
Their second DVD, they did was it Ritual?
Well, they had the We're Going Places, and then they had the Fool 'Em All, which is
arguably
that one's like, I would argue it's better than Majesty by just a little bit, just because it's a little more like,
I liked it.
Yeah. I mean, I love both of them, but it was definitely, you know, it was more coherent, I guess.
Yeah.
you got to go on tour with them.
Yeah.
But
and just
it
how
was
just
a part where
how
he's go ahead.
just how transparent they were about, you know, the time between the last documentary and the new one, like all the member changes and stuff. And that's kind of the one thing I always appreciated about those documentaries, is like as much fooling around, like, cool live footage and stuff. There's always that moment halfway through it where they get into some of the, some of like the more like serious kind of stuff, and talk about just kind of what makes them different than everybody else, like the first couple of times and stuff. And I guess that was kind of why they seemed a little bit more, it kind of made them a little bit more attainable. Was the first one, definitely, when they were talking about like the first tour they went on in cars and stuff, and like playing the show that was like beach themed, and then doing all of the like the Scooby-Doo stuff for the Halloween show. It came out of Scooby-Doo. Like that's shit I feel like we would do. That's,
it is. And like you said, back to the transparency thing, is that they talked about that, but then they were very real about it. It's like, the first song was funny, but then I'm playing a song in a fucking dress. Like,
yeah. It was cool for about a minute, and then
that's what it was cool for about a minute. Yeah, man. The Majesty, like, I watched that on I was on my way back from Chicago. I stopped to see one of my friends one night, and he had that, and we threw it in, and I was like, I knew of Black Dahlia, like I'd said from seeing him earlier. I was probably like 20 at this point. I had him on a couple compilations, but I wasn't like, a Dahlia fan yet. And we sat and watched that DVD, and it was like I said, it's like it was like hanging out with them. And they had snippets of their music in there. I was like, oh, I hadn't heard that song. That part's sweet. And then they had the live bits after. That transformed me into a Dahlia fan. That watching that first one, and then watching the second one, did the same. But like, they were a lot more like, this is what we do. This is our life, and like, welcome to it kind of thing. Like you said, we're talking about the member changes and having all like the new members sit there and talk about stuff, and like they go back, and part of it they hang out with their old members. Like, it's cool as shit,
That's actually a really interesting point. Sometimes the best way for someone to get into a band is to see them on a documentary doing something like that,
or
like,
even like
that's your,
not just necessarily a documentary, but like that's why like bands that like go and work their own merch tables on tours, like I respect, because it's like, like you're up on stage doing your rock star thing, but like, when I get to like shake a guy's hand, or like, crack a joke with them and like talk, because like, there's the running joke with the singers on stage, or metal singers on stage versus metal singers in real life, and it's like the orc and then Samwise or something,
or the orc and a Cabbage Patch Kid.
It's like, it's cool to see those, not humbled, but like to see them like, they're just guys like you that are into this shit, that like, that push themselves to this level. And it's always getting to meet those guys. Like, you'll go and listen to their tunes more once you get to know them. And that's what those DVDs did for Dahlia.
Exactly. Yeah. Sometimes, like, we've all said that, like, there's something extra special about the fact that they come from where we're from in a large way. And there's something about them being like the hometown boys. And I think that, like, and then being able to see them on something like that, and getting to know them on that level, this, like Aaron just said, this is something that you guys would do. This is a guy, these are people that we would be friends with. These remind me of people that I grew up with.
And
so I feel an instant kinship with them.
Yeah, kind of shattered that like rock star illusion, like because really we're kind of out of the age of rock star and stuff, and I feel like, well, kind of sort of, there's still a few that are,
dude, I mean, like,
but it's different. And to kind of see something like that, and to kind of realize, like, all you gotta do is just be really good at your instrument and just write cool songs and just be approachable, and it'll speak to people. That was kind of something I always took from them, is like, they were like these big rock star kind of guys, but at the same time, like, they were able to have the songs, and like, they didn't miss. That was the other thing. Like, if we're gonna talk about their music for a second, like, they're one of the bands that, like, I mean, we've all got, you know, the favorites and the ones that we listen to on a constant basis or whatever. They've always been one for me, but I like they're a band that I could put on like unhollowed to Verminous and just not skip a song and just listen to it all the way through and on repeat multiple times, and it never gets old to me. And like that's
huge.
Yeah, I mean,
that's huge. It's not a lot of bands people can say that about.
Yeah, and the Verminous, like, to see them on that tour and to see them, that was like, I have a couple of videos I want to post. I'd like to maybe put together something, but if you guys got some videos or whatever to kind of tag on the end of this. But I found a couple of videos from that last show, and that was probably one of the best they've ever sounded, and they never sounded bad, but they were like, something about that Verminous cycle, and honestly, anytime we saw them on the Nightbringer cycle was just,
so
you know, yeah, they were, you know, super, like, just tight.
Tight.
Like,
that's exactly what it was. Like when you, so like there's something in metal, and my, you know, bandmates here can attest, is that when you play live, you play faster. It just happens. You get like, it takes like and I don't know how to attain that level of zen to be able to, like, without a click track, play the exact track off the album. But, you know, it's something that happens with metal bands, and it's just, it works, you know, it happens on set, you know, or during the set, and, you know, people mosh harder, they headbang faster, you know, all that shit. It works. But, to that point, I remember seeing an interview with Rob Zombie like years back. I think this was around Ozfest times, that he was like, anybody can sit at home and put on a record and listen to the music you've written. When they come to see you, they want to see a show. And some bands, Slipknot, Zombie, Manson, you know, the late 90s, early 2000s stuff, did these like huge, big theatrical things. But Dahlia was able to generate that same energy with, you know, a couple of scrims. There was no big flash. They had light shows. Obviously, every band that level has a good light show, but like, there was no costumes. There was no huge set pieces. It was 5 dudes going out there in front of the artwork they chose and playing the songs the exact way you want to hear them. Always sounding. You could hear the guitar. You could hear the bass when you needed to. You could hear the kick drum fucking like a goddamn machine gun every time. And there was something about, you know, almost the antithesis of like people going, they want to see a show. They still put on a show. They were up there giving it their all, but you were able to just lose yourself in the music and hear the music you want to hear in a live setting. Whereas, you know, some bands you'll hear and it's like the guitars will be too loud, or the kick drums too much. Like Dahlia was like perfect, especially like Aaron said, those last 2 cycles, their sound was like spot on. Hearing like songs like Funeral Thirst, Breathless Oblivion, like hearing those with that sound quality was fucking so good.
There were 2 songs I always wanted to hear them play that I never got the chance to. I know that they played them at shows that I didn't go to. And the one, I think it was, I think it was like the day before Michigan Metal Fest, the one year we were playing. I think it was the first year. There was that Summer Slaughter date where they were playing all Nocturnal. And I, like, one of my favorite, just from the second I heard it, you know, to fucking today, one of my favorite songs from is Warborn. I want to do a cover of that song so bad, because like I play it all the time. Like that's the, you know, it's another album that I kind of got a lot of like chops from. I kind of got a little bit better at, you know, like blasting, and kind of learned, you know, just kind of took that as like the blueprint for, you know, kind of like where to start with like getting faster or whatever. Because that was sort of the other thing, is like that, you know, that album and a lot of the other ones were like, it was kind of one of the first times it was like super fast kind of stuff that was also, you know, just sort of easy to kind of latch onto it because it was catchy. So I don't remember where I was going with this. What were we talking about? Sorry.
Just hearing them live. Oh, your 2 songs.
Yeah. Sorry. So yeah, Warborn. Sorry, I got a tangent there. Warborn and fucking Climactic Degradation, also off of Nocturnal.
Oh, okay.
I always the super like hyper violent fast bit
Yeah,
of that
great
song was just
That song in one of my first bands with no name, we never got around to that point. We just played like Lamb of God and a couple Slipknot covers. We every time we'd go to count in and I would do the 4 snare hits, we referred to it as the Dahlia starter, without ever like really thinking about it, but I just realized it was climactic degradation. Yeah.
yeah. Oh,
Oh, I'm gonna have to call those guys up. Like, I know why we said that. It's just another one of those things, man. They're so hugely influential. Like you were talking about, Aaron. Like, I want you to talk more about how, like, just in that their music, like, does as a musician, it pushes you further because they were such a widely encompassing band. Like I said, anybody that listened to metal also like would listen to Black Dahlia. It doesn't matter what subgenre you come from.
Oh, definitely. Like I was saying earlier, I was a metalcore, post-hardcore kid, and like they were like one of the more like death metal-y things that I got into, where I was like, oh, okay, maybe more extreme music is something that I need to look into more.
Exactly.
Like, it's a really good like blend.
And I kind of to Aaron and Mike's point earlier, it's like you guys got started into metal at all on Slipknot, and then like Aaron said, once he found Dahlia, that's what led to things like Slayer and Cannibal and all the more extreme side of things. It's like you get that first stepping stone, and then there's another one and another one. You know what I mean?
That's
go
ahead.
They've always kind of, that was the other thing about them too, is they've always found a way to kind of like stay relevant with what's going on, like sound wise with everybody, but they also kind of paved their own way with it,
100%,
kind of made it so that they always had their own unique style that kind of, like I can't, I'm trying to think of some other bands that could, that had that same effect of like they in order to kind of stay relevant, they sort of like changed their sound for the better and like, like kept up with the trends without
see, I don't know, man. I'd almost argue that like Dahlia kind of like, where there was, bits that you could, I guess, refer to as trendy. I feel like Dahlia would come out and like drop the new, and for the next like year and a half, the shockwaves would be felt from there of like, I think Nocturnal is, to keep going back to it because it's, it's such an entry point for a lot of people. Nocturnal had like a serious effect on like the bands that came after it. Like you could hear a lot more of that, like almost horror aspect get like kind of worked in, like weaved into stuff. And of course, it obviously would come from other places. No one could like truly pinpoint like they're the ones that do it. But I feel like every time Dahlia dropped something, it kind of pushed everyone else like, oh shit, gotta go harder next time.
Yeah, definitely. And I think while they were sticking, like while they evolved, their core sound was always that there's no way a fan of Dahlia could ever pick up a Dahlia album and feel like betrayed. You know what I mean? Like, come on, unless you're like crazy fucking fickle, like Cannibal Corpse. The same could be argued for a band like Cannibal, even Bodum. For some would say, like it's just, there are these certain bands that just kind of have this like thing where they definitely evolve. They change their sound here and there.
It's like a sidetrack to what's going on in the rest of the world kind of thing. It's like a parallel path.
Right.
Dahlia keeps like growing Dahlia's sound.
Yeah. But it's still Dahlia's sound. Like, the reason why I say those three bands in particular is because I feel like any of us here right now could hear less than 4 seconds of any song by any of those bands and know exactly who they are. Like without even any vocals, just hear the music for less than 4 seconds and boom, that's Cannibal, that's Bodum, that's Dahlia, that's whoever, any band like that, you know what I mean? And that, and when you can pull that off and still stay like as relevant and amazing and send shockwaves the way Dahlia did, I mean, come the fuck on. you know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We-
I fucking ritual, or not ritual, yeah, ritual. Stirring Seas of Salted Blood was a song that actually, like, to get back to talking about like the musical side of it, like the musicianship. And I was here to test this with our first band, Betray the Prophet, later Aphotic. I couldn't do 3/4. I like, there was something in my brain. I could not count it when I was playing an instrument.
It always turned into 4/4 after a couple of counts.
Every time it was like a mental block, and I still have trouble doing it on drums, but it was Knob was like, I've got one for you. It was after he left and we started Bog Wraith. He sent me Stirring Seas of Salted Blood, and I had heard the song before, and he goes, headbang to it, that's the count. And yep, I was like, oh my god, like, there it is, 3/4. That, like, it helped make me a better musician by learning that from that song.
Nice.
Not quite the same way, Aaron can tune into the technical bits of their drumming, because holy shit, dude, like, every drummer for Dahlia when they went through is a powerhouse. Like,
Yeah.
Fucking I'm kind of biased just because of what I got into him, but I'll say that Shannon Lucas had a big impact on, like, even still, just my playing to this day, because just the way he blasts and like puts different patterns together and stuff, and just the power of it, it was a fucking machine gun. I was like,
yeah, dude,
that, like, I want to learn how to do that. It was kind of same thing with fucking Slipknot. Like, the first time I heard that, I was like, that's what I want to do. And then hearing that again, it's like, and with every album after that, it was like, all right, like with Alan, it was kind of because, like, when he came into the fold with Everblack and stuff, that was like, it was still very like his. I mean, shit, there's stuff on the new album that just blows my mind, how he's able to do that. Like the little solo section and God, Werewolves, Werewolves Feast, I think, at the end of it is just like, I can't make sense of
dude,
it.
right?
Like,
One that always sticks out to me that I try to tap along to, and it's one of those, like, I haven't actually seriously played drums in like going on like 6 years here, so. But it's off of one's got Receipt.
Abysmal.
I can always forget the fucking name of that album. Threat Level Number 3. Like, that man could keep a beat. He's watching the like, it's like a, all right, Flesh God, I could do that.
Yeah. So we talked a lot about the band and like the impact they've had, but I want to touch on real quick something that I think BJ we talked about a bit, and I think Alex we talked about quite a bit before, is just his lyricism, like how he was able to, like, the stories, like they were like, I mean, there's a lot of bands that do it as far as, like, the fantasy element and like taking different bits of, like different, whether it be like the werewolf stuff or like the, the crazy fantasy side of stuff. And they always like paint this picture, and it's all like reading through their lyrics sometimes is like one of my favorites off Verminous, Oak and Steak, Remove All the Oak
Oh
and
my
Steak.
god.
It's a werewolf song, but like just that.
No, it's a vampire.
Or yeah, but it, like, just the picture it paints and just how, like, you have an image in your head of
Jars.
what he's talking about. Yeah, that song too.
I've got
Like,
that. As soon as I saw that shirt, when I think, I don't remember which show it was, but they had Jars, and I was like, oh, holy shit, like, fight my way through the crowd to get it, because that shirt is sweet. The song is just amazing.
Dahlia is one of the first bands where, like, I think it was after Night, it was like not long after Nightbringers had come out at all, and there was one night where I sat down in my room and listened to every album top to bottom and read every lyric along with it, and up to Nightbringers, and then I did it again when Verminous came out. But it changed the way I thought about writing lyrics at all. Like I'd never seen it constructed that way. Like the way he constructed his lyrics, like where really the music was the hook, not the lyrics. You know what I mean? It was like creating this imagery in the story that was so vivid in your head. Yeah, absolutely, hands down one of my favorite lyricists of all time.
Yeah, because like one of my favorite songs is Phantom Limb Masturbation.
Great song.
I feel like it's easily slept on one just from the title alone.
It's also kind of a deep cut, isn't it? Like it's kind of a
it was one of the ones on Ever Black that had like one of the fucking like 1.5 minute long solos and stuff. And Ryan Knight was really feeling it on that album, and like I don't know, I fell in love with that one just because like I love the story to it, where it's like somebody that's like, no, I should be limbless, like I shouldn't have limbs. And like they just go about getting rid of their limbs in the most gruesome ways possible.
Is it one of them like dangles over for sharks?
Yeah,
he puts one on a railroad.
He puts his arms on the railroad so that he gets his arms chopped off, and then he puts his legs in the shark tank and waits for them to get ripped out.
Jesus, love that song.
Christ. It's so cool.
The same with Stirring Seas of Salted Blood. Back to that one. That the ghost ship imagery that he uses in that is just his lyrics were he said something, I think when he came over we were talking about D&D, I think and he was like, yeah, like I use a lot of D&D shit in my lyrics. I was like, yeah, you do. I could do entire modules off of Nocturnal, man, come on.
And then later they put out a D&D book for permanent.
It's true. Yep.
I am still so mad. As an avid D&D fan, I wanted those fucking dice so bad.
Yeah, those dice were sick.
And now they're like $100 on those fan reselling pages.
Right.
I swear to God, like if I get like a fat bonus for Christmas, I will buy them. I will be the guy that perpetuates all this bullshit that I hate, but I need those dice. I have a character built for them.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man.
I
don't know.
There's so much to say about the legacy that Trevor has left and what Black Dahlia will continue to mean for pretty much ever. Like,
yes,
they've just put such
mark
on so many people
that
it's just gonna be lingering. You know, they're gonna be wound forever.
That is one of the cool things about those kind of bands, like that I was making that comparison to earlier, and like Dahlia, is that they are fairly uniquely timeless. You know, like I don't see their music ever really going out of date. You know, even in 20, much like if you go back right now and listen to Eaten Back to Life, it still sounds pretty like something that might get made today or something. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of timeless in that same sense. And I think that is a major reason why I don't think they'll ever stop being a major influence on people that get into more extreme sides of metal.
Exactly.
I was thinking about it the other day because I was listening to one of my favorite like newer bands currently, Summoning the Lich. And they're albeit very, very, you know, Dahlia heavy sounding. Like that's kind of part of the reason I like them is like I sort of equate their newest one, like the sound that they have on it, to being like if you know, it's like if Dahlia would have kept with a bit more of like the evil kind of like sorcery sound that they had on Nocturnal, and just kind of, you know, turned it up a little bit. I guess they like kept going with that, but it's crazy that they're one of the few that you know, you can, if you want more of that sound, there's so many other bands that that have been inspired by them that sound like them. At least a little bit. Like their influences within the last fucking I'd even, 10 plus years, 10, 15 years even, just their impact. And like, you can hear bits of other band songs that sound like them. And it's,
Yeah.
I don't know, they're one of the few modern bands that I can think of that you can say that about.
Yeah, that's influence is like far reaching throughout the
Yeah.
community.
And unique enough to be like immediately recognized too. Like,
Yeah. Like we all understand what a Dahlia riff sounds like. We all know what that,
Yeah.
like, there's something about it that is like so identifiable, but it works. It hits. Like, it's just, I think it all kind of, it's a combination of like where the riff takes you, and like, where his vocals go, and like just, and man, there's a couple things that I've been kind of struggling with. One of those being that, like, we all kind of grew to kind of into like being, Dahlia was kind of the fixture as far as like every other year they put out something new, every like, a few years. Like it was like guaranteed that they were gonna, release something new, and that they were gonna have some kind of tour, or just be touring pretty constant and relentlessly. So it was always kind of guaranteed that you'd be seeing him at least, at most probably twice. I feel like within the last few years, I feel like I've seen him at least twice a year.
I mean, shit, before pandemic, they were even coming here 2 to 3 times a year. Like,
yeah.
And like, if they weren't touring
packages.
new material, they were touring one of their old
anniversary.
albums. Yeah.
Oh man, I like, to that point. I remember when they were doing the the Unhallowed tour for the 10 year of that, or 10 or 20 year of that. And that was cool, because that was the year that they played Bloodfest. It was like at the very end of that tour cycle with like Distomb and some other band. It's really gnarly.
Distomb, I forgot about them.
Yeah. And so because that was like 3 or 4 years after I've been going to Bloodfest, and so to see that, to see them on that, and then to hear that entire record top to bottom with some like super old stuff off Miasma was like, I still get chills from thinking about that one, because it was so cool to hear some of those songs that were off the first album that I've never thought I'd ever hear live, and then to see it at something that I've been going to for so long was like, this is like, if I could have any kind of like, any kind of goal, like that's kind of it. Like, that's pretty attainable to me, and to see it and everything, and just to have that. So I don't know, I'm rambling, but
no, man, you're going good. You feeling it?
Yeah, I had, they're a band I've had pretty big attachment to for a long time. And
we all have, and like,
yeah,
the
night that the day that I found out about it and stuff, I was at work, and I had to be there all day and stuff, and it was like midway through the day, and like I remember when I left, I got like, I don't know, it was like a case of something. I got like a little thing of Jaeger. Came home, I just like put the headphones on, started listening to Ritual, and just kind of, I don't know, I just kind of tried to, make sense of it a little bit, but also like, just kind of reflect on it and stuff. And like, man, like there's so much, like, that, musically, everything else is just, it's gonna be a while if we ever even see, a band that was, even kind of comes close to the impact that they had, because it's,
I agree.
There's a lot.
I agree. Yeah, it's like, that's one thing that it's so hard to really top, is like something that was such a whirlwind of, I don't know, just like positive energy and fucking brutal music all in one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. Yeah.
I always kind of struggled with what to say whenever I had the chance to, like you kind of do. It's like, you never, it's especially, I mean, shit, like to have to be like standing across the way from somebody that, that you listened to for so long that was going to do something on, you know, on a piece of music that you wrote, that you played on for nothing more than like a little bit of gas money and some, you know, some other illicit things. I guess, like, you know, to have that kind of happen and
some weed. We didn't like selling crap.
well,
It's just weed,
yeah.
Aaron. It's okay. We can talk about pot
I
on
know.
podcasts. They smoke the bong. I've hit the bong like 3 times while we've been recording. It's cool.
I know. Well, it's me, I guess. It is the case.
No, I'm gonna do it again just to prove a point.
It's legal.
Yeah. My point being is that, like, you know, it's just
that's
like, you know, to try to, like, because, like, there, you know, there's so many times where I wanted to ask you about, like, you know, the artwork stuff, like the what it was like, you know, coming up, I guess, and like just like some like basic advice kind of stuff. But all I ever came out with was like, dude, you're sick, kind of stuff, like, you know. But it was always, and like, you know, I remember that night that it was that show at the Music Factory. We were kind of out, like just to kind of see them all stand there and just be like a couple feet from me. Just, I was like, this is about as cool as it fucking gets for me. Like, this is, you know, I was like, I didn't know what to do with that. I was just kind of like, you know, just kind of taking it in and stuff. And, you know, I don't know. I just gotta hang on to that. So,
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I'll always cherish the first memory I have of hanging out with him at that Ghost Bash show and telling him about being a fucking bouncer and then getting in each other's faces, acting out a fucking bouncing scene where we're going, what, you want to go, bro? Huh?
arms all the way back. Like,
Yeah, it was so funny. We were just having like a little like fucking what off, because that was just what the story was. I don't know. He was such a warm guy that you can fucking talk about anything with, really. Like, you could just throw it out there and he would just be like, fuck yeah, dude, that's the conversation, let's do this. Like, just be a part of it. He was
yeah.
a fucking, like, good person to talk to.
So
All right, it's really hard to see because my light's really bright. See that?
it's a cup.
That is the cup that Trevor used for drinking water when he came to record All Hail.
Damn. That's crazy.
Yep. I remember like jokingly saving it, and then it was one of those things where so it was like, I need a cup for water. I'm like, you can use anyone but that cup.
Yeah.
It's coming back, I tell you.
I mean, yeah, I don't. Yeah, I only ever got to like briefly meet him like twice, you know, at some shows, just like briefly say hi real quick. Hey man, you're awesome. Love you, you know, like, and then that's it. Like, just one of those passing interactions. But my God, there are few bands and few people that have had a greater impact. There are a few bands that are probably the top three bands that I've seen the most times in my life live. Easily in the top three. Yeah. No, this was a big one. Like Aaron, I didn't even because I remember like I had like there's some nights where I just have really bad insomnia and I was just up all night that night and I saw it and I was like, nope, I'm not delivering this news to anyone. I'm just need to sit with it. I cannot just blow up anyone's day like this. Like this is too. I knew the impact that it would have right away as soon as I saw it, and I was very happy. It was very nice to see how big of an impact it did have. Like it really reached every corner. Like you were saying earlier, Alex, doesn't matter what genre you're into, like y'all come or you whoever however you come into it, like this is still one of your bands, and this is a huge one and huge fucking loss to our community as a whole. And one thing now we're sitting here just slightly over 2 months later. Now, one thing I definitely hope that they still do. I don't know. I know Aaron, you saw it, but I don't know if Mike and Alex saw it. The You Will All Fit live stream performance they did during Christmas pandemic.
No.
It was fucking amazing because it was like half a live performance and half a documentary, and the whole fucking thing was filmed in Michigan. So like it was absolutely amazing. I could show it to, okay. I'm not gonna say never mind. Just in case. But yeah, we'll talk about that off air. But no, they never officially released it, and they were talking about releasing it as a DVD. So I really hope they still do that. But like, I can't help but like think about like, you know, do they continue? If so, how? Do we start a new band?
Man,
I don't know what's it. I have no like.
I've really
opinion,
struggled with that with that in my head, especially because of you know, the way we decided to close up Bogwraith. Is like the Black Dahlia Murder is a group of fantastic musicians. And I just can't imagine the pressure of somebody being expected to be, quote, the next Trevor, the new Trevor. Like so like, you know, I'm not even on a professional level with being a musician, or even like a very skilled level of being a musician. I kind of play bass, but like I can't imagine someone being asked to step in and fill those gym shorts, you know?
All right. That's
It's
all
like
I'll ask.
It's
and
like
I know from solid evidence that it takes a lot to fill those gym shorts.
No, you're right, and it's something that honestly, it is something that in at least fairly recent year, like for a while now, it's fairly unprecedented. Now to say, of course, you know, it's of course been done before and successfully. You know, with Bon Scott, you know, Brian Johnson.
About the last time I can remember any like frontman like significant was Suicide Silence, Mitch Walker.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
different situation, but I mean still the
but
same.
It's the
like,
fact that they were still a band at the time.
Yeah. Well, and he's kind of the same thing. Like he was he was kind of the face of that band, and you know, ever since then,
he was the guy.
Yeah, man. Like, and he was just unique too. I would argue he was just about as unique.
Yeah, I would agree.
Trevor.
I would agree. 100%.
You know.
That's a good pull, and that is actually something I thought about. Something that I would personally love to see as a fan is how they did the Mitch tribute show, where the band played with a cycling rotation of vocalists for different songs. We had Phil, we had Randy, we had all these friends of his. If they were to do something like that, that's something that would mean a lot to me personally as a fan. I think that'd be a really cool thing to see. Especially if they did it in Michigan and we could actually go. Like, oh my God.
Definitely
that'd be a really special night, I think.
Yeah, definitely
something
I've keeping my eyes out for those kind of announcements.
But you know, they'll you know, I you know, it'll be time. But I definitely, what I do know for a fact is I want to see no matter if they go off into different projects or if they start a new project or whatever these guys do, I cannot wait to see what they do next.
Absolutely, man. They're all such highly skilled musicians.
Yeah, I love them all so much. Yeah, and even the Brandon, and I think he's the newest. Man, he's so goddamn good. Like he's
dude, he's like a like a beautiful resurgence of this like weird combination of all the different metals in the 80s, early 90s.
Oh my God. And he's even sometimes when he plays, I even hear a little like Eastern European influence kind of stuff, that kind of melodic style. Like his signature guitar, his Jackson is gorgeous, like that green and black thing. Like, man, like he's fucking brilliant. Yeah, and of course,
Brian. I mean, Brian's been
Brian,
writing
yeah,
yeah. He's been that guy for so long, and,
yeah,
and he's been the writer powerhouse like that.
Mhm.
Like whatever that guy goes on to do next is going to be phenomenal. And
yeah,
he's the one that, like, you know, it's a tragic loss for every member of the band. Don't get me wrong, but like the first day I heard, my first thought was like, oh my God, Brian's got to be devastated. Like I felt so terrible.
that was
You know?
honestly one of my first thoughts too. Honestly, I was like that because they've been in it since the beginning together,
Yeah.
and that's impossible to imagine. Like I can't even
I
like
mean, between him and Alan, because they were both posting stuff.
yeah,
And, like,
yeah,
a lot
yeah.
of the stuff he was posting was pretty heartbreaking, honestly. But at the same time, like, as much of that stuff that I was seeing, is like, I mean, I feel like the Blasphemes page shut itself down for a little while, and then they came back and people were just posting all these fan pictures and stuff, and like that is like, as far as like a way to kind of like come together and kind of like show pay respect and like kind of just have memories and like to keep the conversation going about it. Like it's been really cool to see how they got that, they printed that shirt for him, like a memorial shirt. There's a bunch of them, like, yeah. So just to kind of see all the, all the pictures and like to read all the stuff, all the little memories and things, people, and just all the sick ass videos I've been seeing from like past shows and everything. Like it's cool to see that at least there's that, like at least to some extent, like, he's, people are, we're all kind of going through this shit together. And it was like, in a way, I feel like, I mean, it's been a conversation before, but I feel like this really kind of brought the whole like mental health conversation into the fold a bit more than it has. I mean, we've lost a lot of, like I said, a lot of musicians, a variety of things, but I feel like, suicide's been a big one within the last few years, and to kind of, to be kind of hit with this, and to kind of have to be somebody that you kind of felt like you always kind of turned to when shit was going crazy, and I don't know, like I'm glad that there's so many people that are kind of paying honor and just kind of sharing their memories and stuff, and just like the conversation's open so that it doesn't feel so like so isolated to me, I guess. I'm glad that the conversation's kind of started a bit more, because we I feel like we need it, especially.
You're completely right. And I'm not gonna like, I don't want to get like all preachy or anything, but like you're absolutely right that the conversation needs to be had. So many of these, big names, big positive forces in our life, like that's, you got to realize, like, that's the face of depression as well. And I hope, if anything comes from this, as someone who's been through some shit too, get help. If you ever feel those thoughts, man, anybody, there's someone you can reach out to. I promise you, there's somebody out there. Don't take this path that he took. He's gone too early because he didn't get help. So please take care of yourselves, everyone.
Yes, absolutely. Matter of fact, we can decide on something like a link to post with this.
Yeah. There's resources out there, guys.
Yeah. We can post some links. For sure. Definitely. I don't know what else to say.
I think we should sign off on a positive note.
I do too.
After all the gloom and doom, really, like, we've been very positive, but that was rough. So guys, go fucking roll all of your windows down. I don't give a shit if it's raining. After you're done listening to this, I want you to turn on, just go to whatever artist page on any streaming service or whatever CD you have closest, their closest dial, put it in and just blast it front to back. Scream the lyrics poorly, air guitar, fucking air drum, dude, like headbang at a red light. Not while you're driving. That's dangerous. I'm not going to condone that. You can't sue us if you do it and you die or get hurt, whatever. But
don't be afraid to practice it and learn how to get good at it.
And dude, like, it's if that dude stood for one thing, it's that metal is as beautiful as it is brutal. And it brings every single one of us together. I know every single one of you has experienced it at some point when you're standing in a crowd and you get that moment, maybe mid-song, maybe right after song, or when the lights go black. It's that feeling of you're standing there with 2,000 to 10,000 people that are fucking feeling that exact same thing, and everyone's feeling that same thing, and then something hits and everyone reacts at the same time. There's something to it in a metal show. Like, I've been to other concerts too, and you kind of like get that, but like, man, it's what it's all fucking about. And that dude exuded that. And I hope going forward, show me those fucking muscles, you know?
Yeah, dude.
So, you know, yeah, dude, fucking metal is fucking life. Metal is our family. We are all fucking one and the same. And, you know, we need to come together now more than ever and write some really fucking angry music about the bullshit our world is up to.
Boom.
I love it.
Also,
I love it. All right, my friends, that's going to do it for this tribute episode to Trevor from us boys at Lost in the Bog podcast. Man, and yeah, it's up to us now. I would say it's up to us to make sure nobody that we ever know in our entire lives doesn't know who the fuck he is. It's up to us to carry it on forever, and we shall. So, Kings of the Night Realm, everyone else watching, we hope you have a great night. We will be back again soon with so much more, but raise your fucking horns and blast some goddamn Black Dahlia murder. We love you, Trevor.
Right. Rest in peace, brother.
Rest in fucking power. We fucking love you, Trevor. We fucking love you, Black Dahlia murder boys. We love you, everyone watching this to death. Go blast them, turn them up, let your fucking neighbors know. You all have a great night, and we'll be back.
Lost in the dark.